So Candace Owens is a Nazi. We can just open with that. Liking tweets about Jews growing fat on the blood of Christians, like full-on Nazi shit, no ambiguity. I don't even feel the need to argue this. It's pretty straightforward. So Candace Owens, as a consequence of being a Nazi, has been let go of the Daily Wire, which is run by Ben Shapiro, who is a Jew. That's where this beef is coming from, more so than anything else. Candace Owens tweets, I would like to debate Ben Shapiro on Israel and the current definition of anti-Semitism. Can somebody make that happen? Now, Ben Shapiro is, of course, pro-Netanyahu, and he, his infamous Arabs like to bomb buildings and live in sewage. Like, we know what his positions are on Israel and the Palestinians. Netanyahu is a fascist. Ben Shapiro is a fascist, whatever. But Ben Shapiro is, in addition to being a fascist, Jewish. So there are some people whose support of the Palestinians, like Candace Owens, are motivated much more by hatred of the Jewish people than they are any kind of actual anti-brown racism, support for Arabs, or whatever else. Candace Owens doesn't give a shit about Palestinians or anything Israel's doing. This is just another wedge that Nazis use to gain public appeal. So, Ben Shapiro, insufferably, quote tweets rather than replies, making this all more difficult to follow. Sure, Candace, I texted you on the 29th of February. Already a classic debate mistake from Ben Shapiro here. That's not a real day, idiot. That's not a real day. Offering this very thing. Let's do this on my show this Monday at 5 p.m. at our studios in Nashville, 90 minutes live streamed. Great. We love our content. And Candace Owens says, guys, I know. Holy shit, really? Some of you have been around for 5 years and you can't tell? Jesus.
I finally caught Vosh. He's been wrong about something.
Please use tone indicators. No! Cure yourself. Anyway, Candace Owens says, I'm sure you can appreciate why I'd prefer to keep this off the Daily Wire platform, as well as the true reason why we were never able to make any discussion happen. Let's choose a neutral, trustworthy platform. I vote Patrick Bet David. How neutral of a platform do you think this guy, And then back to Ben Shapiro. Candace, I can see why you'd want to hide behind a moderator, particularly one who said we should rename our company the Daily Jewish Wire just yesterday. No, one-on-one, Monday at 5 p.m., we can sit down and have a healthy debate like adults. We'll live stream it to Twitter and YouTube. Take it or leave it. The true reason you didn't respond to my offer to sit down with you and discuss these issues publicly or privately back in February, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about with regards to that. And this has 5,000 replies, 11,000 likes, aka he's getting mega ratioed. So there are a couple reasons for this. First of all, Twitter is packed full of Nazis, and people don't actually like Ben Shapiro that much. I've been arguing for years now that Ben Shapiro is kind of obsolete in the modern formula of conservative messaging, because conservative messaging has to be more and more comfortable with Nazism, because they are a more and more prominent and loud voice in their party, and he is just too loudly Jewish, He's not just Jewish, he's loudly Jewish. What are you going to do, right? The Daily Wire is kind of like, it's not that the Daily Wire is obsolete, it's just that like 2017 era of like intellectual debate isn't really what's serving the conservative party right now, because their positions are completely indefensible, Modern day conservatives don't really make that much of an effort to go out seeking engagement and debate unless it's like on a college campus, because why would they? A lot of their positions are literally just, my opposition is degenerate. Like it's, and this also speaks so well to why I hate how people always appeal to a moderator in debates, because the purpose of getting a moderator in a debate is, can I find someone who will like offer undue legitimacy to what I say, or someone wildly biased in my favor? There's a reason why it's often the most dishonest people who go seeking moderators and refuse to do non-moderated conversations. You should be the moderator, Vosh. Well, you're right. I'm so neutral. Hey, Beetle Moses. We were just talking about Jewish people and Nazis, specifically Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens. Patrick Bet David. So this is the guy, huh? My proposal. Oh, this guy really wants to be moderator. Really wants to be moderator. I mean, you dislike both of them. Candace Owens is several times worse than Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is a fascist. But, remarkably, there's a pretty wide range within fascism of how bad it can get. And Ben Shapiro is on a relatively light end of things. I'm not joking when I say that, You've watched his content a lot. You saw his debate with Sam Cedar. This guy? Is this the super rich guy? Oh, is this the really, 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 really rich guy? That guy? Watch this clip in its entirety. 24.5-minute long video on Twitter. The rich podcaster from Miami.
Saying, I am so happy the two of you guys are talking, as well as agreeing to do a sit down. Obviously, the detail is the challenge where we're going to figure out. Let me give you a couple things I want you to be thinking about. One, Ben, let me address your issue about what I said yesterday with the Daily Israeli Wire. I even said the Daily Jewish Wire. If you haven't watched the entire context of what I said, I'm going to put the link below. You can go watch the entire thing on what I said from the beginning to the end. I highly recommend you watch it. Secondly, why...
This guy is basically the exact same guy as Sam. What is it? Not Sam Bankman-Fried. Lexman? Sam Lexman? What's that guy? What's the guy? Lex Friedman, yeah. In that they're empty suits who have sold out any principles they may or may not have had so they can, like, grift by attracting the biggest possible people to them. They have no beliefs outside of that. None whatsoever. How self-aware is Ben Shapiro? I think he's more... I don't know. He's so embarrassing to listen to. It's hard to tell how self-aware he is. Candace Owens is perfectly self-aware. It's just she's kind of, like, empty, except for the Nazism, I guess. He's a big Ayn Rand stand. In a way, this guy might be a better version of Lex Friedman, because at least this guy has an ideology that he owns up to from time to time, whereas Lex Friedman will just sit down and, like, he will say or do anything that gets him near power. He's just a brown-noser. That's it.
I think you have to know where my perspective is slightly different, is I understand where you're coming from, because I lived in Iran as a kid from the day I was born till 10 years old, where we were bombed.
This guy is not a fascist, Vosh. He's just an ANCAP guy. ANCAPs are fascists, every one of them.
167 times in one day, 500,000 people died, and I was a Christian kid living in a nation where 98% were Muslim. We were afraid to talk about what we were all about. So I feel the pain of people living in Israel.
What does this have to do with you calling it the Daily Jewish Wire?
And I fully feel the pain of some of the folks who are Christian folks maybe living in Palestine that don't agree with what's going on with Hamas. I understand both sides. And
those are the both sides? Christians in Iran and Christians in Palestine? Those are the two. That's the conflict. That's those two people. Those are the ones who are fighting. What?
That's why I understand what Candace is saying. And I also understand why you have the position that you have. Having said that, there's a couple things I want you to be thinking about. Number one,
Didn't he say he was going to explain what he meant by Daily Jewish Wire? Has he done that? Did I blank out and miss it? Did I have a stroke? Didn't he say it was... Because that's an odd thing to say.
You are Jewish. I think you're...
No, that's the 24-minute clip. I'm not watching that.
From Burbank, California, if I'm not mistaken, and you got 4 kids. I'm Middle Eastern, Armenian, Assyrian, born in Iran. I went to Glendale, California. And then we have Candace, who I believe is from White Plains, New York, with 3 kids.
Of course she'd be from White Plains.
We're all family folks, right? When we come down and sit down and have the conversation together, we're in America today.
This is
this is my proposal to you. Because of what's happened,
everyone talk. There are only 2 kinds of conservatives. There are the conservatives that say nothing because they're trying to give space to more ideologically informed ones, and then you have the ideologically informed ones who are all neo-Nazis. That's it. Those are the only 2 conservatives now. There are yappers, and then there are Hitlerites. That's it. And the yappers' job is to give space to the Hitlerites. It's the Dave Rubin thing, you know? Dave Rubin is just a moderate liberal who has questions about modern whatever, you know? Now here you go. Here you are, Lauren Southern, you know, let's agree on stuff. I'm just a moderate liberal, but I agree. Whites in the West are being replaced by a protracted effort by a secret group of elites to displace them. Yeah, that's true. You know, I have questions about the elite cabal. I'm Dave Rubin, moderate liberal. Watch this clip in its entirety. It's 24 minutes.
Candace Owens, go ahead.
He makes the argument for censorship. He calls it something else.
Yeah, I forget the term. I have it in my phone.
But I don't even think he's using the term right. But he's basically like, there's justified reason for firing people when you built your identity and platform not be critical, because he has no problem being very critical of America.
Yep.
Critical of the left.
And I sent Rob another video of Ben kind of contradicting himself, but he's 100%
They're taking issue with the firing of Candace Owens for being a Nazi.
right. Like what? And by the way, that's
who are afraid that the cancel culture is coming for them. And cancel culture does exist. Okay, so what this results in very, very often is corporations looking to cram down a particular alien.
and they fired her. So that's just proof that he's a hypocrite.
Thoughts on this?
So I've been very open that I thought that the Daily Wire managed the whole thing with Candace in public. Just
when I was...
Why would you call this, watch this clip in its entirety? We're never getting an explanation for him calling it the Daily Jewish Wire. Loved his delivery on cancel culture does exist. Yeah, it's so tired, man. This shit gets so boring. Who watches this? Genuinely.
Level of weight and impact to say, boom, we're out of here.
We don't know, but all I can do is tell you what we've seen online. Here's what I can tell you. By the way, zero.
Joey Manarino says, just earned an entirely new level of respect for you. Wow. Remind me, is this the pissing into his own mouth armband Nazi, or am I thinking of a different guy? Wait, what? Is this that guy? Or am I thinking of a different one? No, that's Joey Salas? Joey Salads. That's right. That's right. Okay, gotcha. This is a different kind of fascist. I don't remember which one. Conservative populist. I'm not a DEI hire. Yeah. Owens' relationship with the Daily Wire has been rapidly deteriorating for a while now over anti-Semitism and the war in Gaza. She defended Kanye West when he posted that he would go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Owens responded the same day by posting cryptically, "No one can serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and money," with a response to something Shapiro said. Owens added a comment under his post in the exchange, "Christ is king." If anyone says Christ is king, by the way, Nazi. It's not even like whether or not it's a Nazi phrase or whether or not Christians can say it without being a Nazi. I've only seen Nazis say it, you know? Like, raising your arm up in a Sikh Heil isn't a gesture that only Nazis can make. Literally anyone can do it, yet all the people who do it seem to be Nazis. So, you know. Yeah, I just think of it as like a Nick Fuentes thing. Christ wants you to lick cum of your roommates off the couch that you both share together. And little else. The king commands it. Last month, Owens' anti-Semitic comments grew more explicit. She claimed there was a sinister ring of Jews in Hollywood. In an online feud with a famous rabbi, she liked a post on Twitter asking if he was drunk on Christian blood again. Nick Fuentes was delighted. Man, can you imagine being Hitler and watching as your greatest soldiers in 2024 are a closeted gay trans twink, a black woman, and Kanye West, the most mentally ill human being on earth ever, in the great history of humanity, you know? Truly legitimately though. Yeah, literally, it's not even a joke. Like, they are the Christian anarchists, no king but Christ kind of goes hard though. I don't really think it does, and I don't really think that Christ would have liked actually thinking of himself as a king. Like, I think the king there is allegorical, but when you actually say that, it's more like, you know, Christ owns you, because that's what the king did with serfs. They owned you. It's kind of weird. The whole point is that he doesn't own you. You're a free soul that makes your own decisions. Bad translation. Yeah, it's what it implies today. He would in the sense that he would be God. The whole point of free will on earth is that we're supposed to make our own decisions, which lead to our final judgment. You know, that doesn't really work. Jesus outright rejected being made a king. Yeah, it doesn't play. Call it a translation error. This whole article is about Fuentes. Jesus Christ. Undoubtedly, some of the backlash to Owens' firing came from people who are purely hateful and gleeful at sowing chaos, but the religious core of some of the backlash was visible in the response the Daily Wire's Andrew Klavan received after he spoke up against harassing Jewish accounts with Christ as king. When you use that phrase to mean God has abandoned his chosen people, the Jews, through which he came into this world incarnate, you are quoting scripture like Satan does in the Bible. You are quoting scripture to your purposes, and that to me is especially wicked. Oh, you think that Nazis are Christians? Andrew Torba, the CEO of Gab, and self-proclaimed Christian nationalist, responded in his newsletter. First of all, the Bible is very clear. God's chosen people are Christians, not unbelieving, Christ-rejecting Jews. Well, that's straightforward. The Bible isn't clear. They don't read the Bible. They don't care. They just want to give metaphysical emphasis to their fantasy Holocaust. I swear there used to be a mask. There did used to be a mask. Holy shit, this article's long. It doesn't also include very much about the damn debate. What does the Jerusalem Post have to say about this? Every time Ben Shapiro debates somebody who's worthy, he either gets washed or bare minimum in a stalemate. Schultz continued. I've never seen him win a debate against someone who's educated in the matter. True! Daily Wire co-founder Jeremy Boring stepped in for Shapiro as Shabbat began, and the latter could not respond to Owens, and reiterated Shapiro's initial offer to do it on his platform one-on-one in Nashville, with no ads in the video and no charge to watch it. No one cashes in. Owens replied saying she's in London and cannot commit to the Tennessee city, telling Boring that, "You have known for months I was going to be in London this week. Daily Wire employees were initially slated to be here with me, so publicly pretending you guys are not aware of this seems odd," but said she can do the debate virtually. Okay. Did Boring even say when the debate would be in person? How does that conflict? Boring responds saying he didn't know Owens' travel schedule, but the Daily Wire doesn't need to be involved at all, whether it's their channel, studio, or crew, but they will not agree to have a moderator or do it virtually. Owens accepted. That they will not agree to have a moderator or do it virtually. Okay, so it is going to be in person then. Why is the dude's name Boring? Yeah, the thing here is that it's unfortunate, but Ben Shapiro is basically guaranteed to get washed on this because Again, all the people who are interested in this debate, the people who are actually invested in this beef, are Nazis and will side with Candace Owens. You know, the broad... Also, Candace Owens is taking the technically correct position here in the context of Israel-Palestine, right? Whether or not it's being motivated by her being a Nazi, if she's arguing in the defense of the Palestinian people, that is a position for which there is much more weight and momentum, even if it's being motivated by anti-Semitism. She's not, though. No, I know, but that's the position she's arguing from. Is this even going to be about Palestine? I would say best case scenario is that Ben Shapiro does a good job not getting angry, and Candace Owens lets the mask slip in a way that makes it impossible for even some of the more, like, open Nazis to defend her, I guess. Or the really open ones would anyway, but, you know, she fucks up in some way. What I think is more likely is that Ben Shapiro gets flustered and angry because Candace Owens keeps dropping over and over and over again, like, coded anti-Semitism. And Ben Shapiro does that, like, wait, you can't say Christ is king. That's an anti-Semitic dog. You're signaling against my Judaism. And, like, doesn't do a good job of responding to it. And it just makes him end up looking bad and ends up being a huge dub for Nazis. Kind of, she can't use good pro-Palestine arguments. Her position should lead her to support the ethno-state. That's irrelevant because Nazis will constantly say stuff that doesn't gel with their broader positions. She doesn't have to make a consistent argument. Nor will Ben Shapiro hold her to it, because if he did, he would have to acknowledge how bad Israel has been in this conflict. It's a pretty unwinnable debate from Ben's perspective, at least not in like a direct sense. What should he go for, bad boy or intellectual? I think he should show up shirtless, you know? Really throw her for a loop. Okay, guys, I'm going to take the doomer position, and my guess for what's going to happen is that Candace Owens is going to spend 90 minutes just unrepentantly dog whistling about Christianity defeating Judaism or whatever, you know, just old-style anti-Semitism. She's going to say that Netanyahu drinks the blood of Christians, but there's going to be one quote, she says, where she defends Palestinian people, and that's going to go viral on lefty Twitter, and all of the ambiguously progressive anti-American, anti-Israel types are going to be like, yo, based Candace Owens? Yo, even Candace Owens is waking up, because she's going to say something like, you people have been mistreating the Palestinians for too long, or whatever. Or she's going to repeat like a Kanye argument. She's going to be like, and you can't deny that a certain group of people have been holding black men down in Hollywood, huh? And then all the lefties are going to go like, yo, Candace woke. She knows she left the Daily Wire. She can speak her mind and be progressive. So yeah, that's my guess.